Yeah, I just thought I might just give you a few basics of Illustrator, some of the tools and what they do. So you can see a whole lot of shapes here. They are obviously all vector because they're created within Illustrator. This is a shape tool over here. You can draw different types of rectangles, circles. You can also pull the little circle in the corner to make a rounded edge there. But different shapes, pretty self-explanatory. If we go to the top two tools, now we've got some shapes here. The selection tool obviously selects different objects. We can group a few objects if we like by selecting those three there with a marquee tool. We can hit the right mouse button and then hit group. That will now group these three objects. But not those ones because he didn't select them. If we go to the direct select tool, that allows us to select individual objects within a group and actually move them. So if we move that one, for instance, we can then go back to the selection tool, but these will still be in a group even though I've direct selected that. We can also ungroup those at any point and then they become their individual objects again. So that's the selection tool and direct select tool. This is the pen tool. So this allows us to create and manipulate nodes of a shape. So let's look at that. If we use the selection tool and select that one and then hit the direct select tool, you'll see that there's some nodes. These are the nodes I'm talking about. We can select those and we can manipulate those. I'll just Control Z back to make that. If we go into the pen tool, we can add a point. So we can add a point to there, maybe add a point there, add a point there. This then allows us to manipulate that point or add a point. We can do things like that. If we go back into the subtraction, we can subtract that point. So that will put it back to where we had it. If we go to the anchor point tool, that allows us to manipulate the points to an arc. So it'll give us 2 points and we can pull that out and make an arc. We can touch each one of these points and make an alteration and do whatever we want essentially. So it allows you to manipulate a vector, add points and make some alterations, I guess. What else can we do? So that's really those ones. Type tool obviously is pretty obvious. Create a text box and type whatever you want in there. You can go to the character menu, change your fonts and your sizes, and your color and whatnot. That's pretty self-explanatory, same as any program really. We'll just put that aside. The other one that's quite handy is the Pathfinder tool. What we can do is we can add objects. I'm just going to go to the Pathfinder. So this is Pathfinder here. I'm just going to bring it over here so we can see it better. If I grab 2 objects, and what I'll do firstly though, I'll align them. So that's another tool. So if we select those 2 objects there and I go to the align, I'll bring that over here as well. If we go align and I select this one, it'll align the 2 objects to the left, as you can see by there. If it was in the center, it would center them. On the right, it would do it to the right. So say for instance I wanted to put these ones to the left, I can then actually create those 2 shapes into a group by using the Pathfinder tool and uniting those 2 shapes. So if I click on that, that now becomes one shape. So that can come in handy when you're creating different objects. So that's what the Pathfinder tool does, the alignment tool. You've got a whole lot of other ones which you probably won't use. Eyedropper tool, that gives you the CMYK values or the color values to make up that point if that's of any use. Eraser tool, you can erase a section of your object. So if we just did that, that object now has been modified and has now a new vector shape. So there's some basic tools. There's a whole lot more. I suggest you, if you need to know more and have your skills upgraded in Illustrator, I would suggest you go to YouTube, and there's a lot of really good videos on how to use different tools within Illustrator and Photoshop for that matter. And there's a lot of case studies that they do, and they're quite easy to follow. But here's just a few little tips and tricks and tools I guess we can have a look at. Hope it's useful.